Right, here we are in the inside. It's quite a nice place to be, really. I'm not very knowledgeable about Subarus and their incarnations and different types and what have you. All I know is it's fast, really fast, and it's really, really easy to drive. I'd say probably too easy to drive. What I like about what if I compare it to the Nissan Micra, which is the total opposite end of the spectrum of cars. With this car, you can quite easily, without realising you're doing it, get up to quite fast speeds because it's just so easy to do. Whereas a Nissan Micra, you can push and push and you're still going a relatively slow speed. So for me, I'm probably having more fun in the Nissan Micra because you're not going as fast and getting excitement. And I'm of an age now where I don't like to do speeding or, you know, go faster than I should do on the road or whatever. Different on a rally track, obviously. Which brings me to, as a rally car, the Nissan Micra would be, it just wouldn't be competitive in any way unless you've got other Nissan Micras doing the rally as well. I suppose you could spend a lot of money on it, and you could. I have seen fast Nissan Micras, but for a basic car, I don't think it'll do very well. Whereas this thing, if you stuck a cage and a turbo restrictor on, I think it would still be quite a competitive car. It would still, well, it wouldn't be up there, but it would be doing quite well. This one is Prodrive. Prodrive, I don't know what they do. I don't know if Prodrive take them or supply the kits to Subaru or when they come to the UK or whatever, but it's got a Prodrive kit on it, which is the exhaust and suspension, I believe, and it gives it a bit more, and the ECU, it gives it a bit more performance, but it does feel quite soft and wallowy still, which is going to be great for what I want it for. So Prodrive know what they're doing, because obviously they've done stuff to enhance it and make it a bit better. What my plans are to stick a cage in it, turbo restrictor, seats, extinguishers, harnesses, and ignition power isolator to make it as basic as possible as a stage rally car. And by basic as possible, I mean as cheap as possible. I want to do this car, I want to see how cheap I can do this car. I bought the car, I've had it for a couple of months now, so I've been driving it about just to make sure it's all alright, and it is. It's a very entertaining car. I had no intentions of buying another car. I've got two cars that need building, both with cages in. They just need finishing off, and there's not that much more to do on them, whereas this one would be the full fit the cage. I had no intentions of buying it. I saw it advertised and I thought I'd go and have a look, because I was quite intrigued by it. It was a very cheap car, and when I went to see it, I took it for a drive and I ended up buying it. It was it's done 59,000 miles, which isn't a lot. It's in good condition. It had it'd been waxed with a special two-part wax, and the guy had obviously left the wax on too long, so it's still on the car, the wax on the outside, so it could probably do the polish, but I'm not fussed about things like that. What I paid for the car is $2,750, which I don't know what these cars go for, but I think that's a really good price for what you get. For that sort of money, you're not going to get a lot of car, but this is a lot of car for that. It's got like the windscreen pillars have got airbags in. There's an airbag in the steering wheel. I want to do make it as basic as possible, as cheap as possible. So I want to keep the standard steering wheel, but we'll have a look here. Yeah, this. Hopefully I can take the airbag out and keep the cover on, so it's not going to just, I can't leave it with a big hole there. It's quite a nice steering wheel anyway. The handbrake works really well, but four-wheel drive, a lot of people say you can't handbrake a four-wheel drive, but I think it's all about balance and getting that done, because I did previously own a 4-wheel drive Subaru, and that handbrake's all right, but it had the DCCD or whatever it is, which disengages the centre clutch. So looking at the seats, I should be able to make up some 3mm plates that go from the original seat brackets that will support the new race seats. I'd like to keep the carpet in. I'd like to keep the air conditioning, the heater, all the bits. I think, you know, it's got 250 horsepower, which I think that's going to reduce a lot by the time you get a restrictor in it. Yeah, they're coming out. They are, yeah, they would clean up, but I'm not fussed about that. Right, sorry about the angle. I've wedged the camera in the sun visor. Or not. Right, well, I found a hairband that was in the back, so I've put that around the mirror. So we go for a little drive. Right, because it didn't seem to be working the other way I was trying to hold the camera. Right. 4-pot burble, the flat 4 burble. It's quite a distinctive noise. We're actually driving round, this is our local kart track, which is, it's a road during the week, and when they do racing they close the road, and I used to race here many years ago, but they've got infield bits now where, anyway, it's not about kart racing. So the car makes its quirky noise. It drives lovely. It's so light and easy. The steering, brakes, everything seems to be overpowered rather than, which takes away a lot of the feel. It's, I don't know why I'm doing this, because we're not doing a test drive. We're not test driving cars. I'm just saying what it drives like. It drives all right. It drives nice. But it does do, what I'm trying to show you is sneezing it does. I don't know if you can hear that. It's like a tss, when you take foot throttle. And the other thing I've noticed, which I don't know if this is a thing to do with this type of car or if it's had something fitted to it, but it tends to be, if you give it a stick and take your foot off the throttle doesn't close instantly. I can be on the brakes and it's still accelerating. So I don't know if that's something to do with the sneezing thing it's got on it. I don't know much about turbos. Anyway, what I know is I've got to fit the 32mm turbo restrictor, which is I'll show you the restrictor because I've actually got one. And apparently what it does is it kills any power after 4,500 revs, which is the total opposite to what I want. I want a revvy engine, but it's a turbo, and that's what they do. So I don't think I'm going to be bonding with this car, not like the E30 or the Escort, where I just love it. I just love the revving, the revs. But I think this will be a very capable car, and I think this will be a way of getting a car very cheap and quite a capable car for not a lot of money. So money-wise, the car's costs £2,750, which I think is a bargain for what you get. I've bought a cage, which was, I think it was £1,200. Whoa. People going the wrong way. So 273. So I'm up to £4,000. I would ideally like to get the car built for 5, but I think just with seats and harnesses, we're going to be going over that. But still, £5,000. Imagine if you could build a car with, it won't have 250 horsepower by the time it's got the restrictor fitted in it. But for £5,000, you can't get anything for £5,000. I know obviously there's labour, and if you took it to a garage and said stick a cage in it, it's going to cost you a lot of money for them to put the cage in. The cage I've got is a bolting cage. It was made by Motorsport roll cages, MRC. They're a company in Belfast, I think they are. They're in Ireland. So it was £1,200 or so. I'll have to check that. I think it's about £1,200, and that was delivered. So if you're in Ireland or the UK, you'll obviously get it cheaper than that. It's a bolting cage, so I think it should be a weekend to get it fitted. It'll probably take longer to get the bits out of this car, because I'm going to have to take the seats out, the airbags. I want to keep the carpet, I want to keep the comforts, I want to be able to put the air conditioning on if it's cold, if it's hot, and put the heater on if it's cold. And I want it to be quiet. I want it to. The Escort is a fantastic car, and it is a rally car. It's got no heating. It gets really hot in summer because the exhaust is under your left foot, and it gets pretty cold in winter apart from your left foot. Your left foot stays warm. Whereas this, I want it to be a comfortable car, quiet car, electric windows. I don't think I will keep it. I think I'll build it as a rally car and then move it on or whatever. Do something. I don't. It's not going to be any good as a road car once I put a cage in it, because it'll just be uncomfortable. But it is a bolting cage, so the cage could come in and out. The seats are very nice seats. These seats, so I could take the rally seats out and put these back in if I've just put made plates up to bolt the new seats to the old holes. So it could be used as a road car and then a rally car. If I do, obviously there'll be an extinguisher and ignition isolator. But yeah, basically I want to do it as basic as possible, and not only will I have the benefit of heating and air conditioning, it's just I'm not going to spend all that time taking it off and making things fit and change and different bits and pieces. The turbo restrictor, from what I've been told, this is all new to me, is there is a guy in the UK who can remap it, and he reckons he can give you more torque than you get as standard once you've got a restrictor in with the map that he puts on it. But I think it'll be dead after 4,500 revs. It won't do anything. So it's going to be a very burr type car, rather than screaming the nuts out of it. Like I say, it's all new to me, and what I want to use it for is we have a rally that's in a quarry, so it's like gravel and concrete that we race on. So it'd be nice to use the grip, because four-wheel drive is going to have a massive advantage down there. But I don't want to get to the stage where the car's doing really well and I'm not enjoying it. I'd rather be not doing very well and enjoying the rally. So I am being very negative about the car. I have had one before, and I've won the quarry rally in it because there is a massive advantage in four-wheel drive. But there are other four-wheel drives doing the quarry rally, so it's not going to be on its own there. It's just more of, oh, that's nice, I don't know if you'll see that. That was a really weird BMW. Not seen one like that before. It's a really old one. Yeah, so I've got the next rally is in March, I think, and we are end of December. It's New Year's Day tomorrow, New Year's Eve tomorrow. So I've got 3 months, which should be, I think, a weekend to get the cage in, probably a weekend to get the seat rail sorted out. Quite easily do that in a weekend. I've got seats and harnesses in my white E30 that I use for the quarry rallies, so I can put those straight in here. But I want to do it so I'd know how much it would cost to do from scratch without having to use parts I've already got. So I'm trying to, I'll do a shopping list of what it would cost for, I mean, you can always get second-hand seats, but normally they're out of date, and the harnesses will be used, and I wouldn't recommend second-hand harnesses because you don't know what they've been through, and once they've had a big crash, it's probably not ideal to use them. So yeah, so I want to do it as quick as possible, well, within 2 months, and as cheap as possible. So I'm up to £4,000 so far. The extinguisher is going to be £300 probably. Isolator's not going to cost a lot, but I would like a push button one if I can. But I can do that with the central locking solenoid rather than doing it with a push button isolator, which tends to be quite expensive. So yeah, basic car, cheap price. I'll keep you updated as to how it goes and what progress we can make, and hopefully it should be quite a simple thing to do. I'm going to go home now and open up the cage and have a look, because it's bare metal. I'm going to have to paint it anyway, so I've got some primer and some paint. So I'll go and open it up, and you can have a look at the cage. It's got, because the car it's a modern car, the MSA regulations state that you need to have windscreen reinforcement bars on it, which are additional bars on the front laterals that come down, reinforcing the windscreen, because modern cars are more slanty. The old box cars, you get a cage in and the cage will be quite strong, but because there's so many slants and angles, I think that it reduces the strength in a cage now. That's why they've decided that you have to have reinforcement bars and a bar across the roof as well. So this new cage has been specified with that. It's all done in 45mm tubing. It's got harness bar and bits and pieces. So I haven't opened it up. I received it just before I went on holiday. I've just come back from holiday, so I'll open it up now, have a look, and then we can go through it and see what's what.